Welcome to Spain Perspectivas. Buenos dias, Tanya.
Hola, how's it going?
It's going good. I'm very excited for today's interview that I would like to tell the audience that Tanya brought to the interview table.
Well, we've been through some things here in Spain. Yeah, so I'm excited that we get to talk to Roger today because he is at the notary that we used to purchase our apartment, and that whole process, the first time I did it was incredibly stressful, and I think the more you know in this situation, the better. And he brings all the information of not just real estate, but just what notaries do in Spain, which is completely different to what they do in America. So don't have any expectations. It is a whole other ball game.
So, exactly. So, listen to the interview and you may learn some things that I did not know and now know now.
Yes, and it's more than just real estate because I mean I learned some things too because I didn't know the full extent, and I was kind of interested to see or to hear, I guess, what the full extent of their work is because it's an extremely important job here. So enjoy listening to us chat with Roger about all things notary in Spain.
All things notary, take it away.
Hi, Roger. We are excited to have you on this episode of Our Spain. And I just want to introduce everybody, including Gaetano, because I know Roger from the notary that we used to buy our apartment. And anyone that's been listening to Our Spain knows all the stuff that went around us trying to get an apartment and all this. So we thought it would be great to interview you, and Roger Mulet has been nice enough to everybody all the information about what notaries do in Spain, why we need them, and anything else that he can think of. So welcome to our Spain, and please give us your name properly in Spanish and the name of the notary and everything that I'm not going to try and say because it's going to sound awful.
Okay, hi, and thank you for having me. My name is Roger Mulet, and I work in the Notary of Ricardo Monllor in El Cabanyal in Valencia.
So much. Doesn't that sound so nice?
Very nice. And it's a pleasure to meet you, Roger, by the way, since
Nice to meet you too, Gaetano.
so I will start off by saying that I had to get something notarized here, and I was blown away with how it's so completely different than in the United States. And I don't know how familiar you are with what notaries are in the United States, but it's not the same, and something I wanted done not could not necessarily get done the way I wanted it done, so I couldn't do it. So please tell us what a notary is in Spain, because the word is the same, but the job is different.
Okay, so I'll start saying, what is a notary? A notary is a public office. Okay, what does it mean? That means that it's not a private office. Okay, so what we do are just public documents, deeds.
Okay.
Okay, we don't do private contracts. We don't do the uber famously arras contract, and we do the notarization thing that you call it, which for us is a really abstract object. Okay, we don't do that in Spain as you know it. I mean, these last years we had a lot of people coming from different countries, really different countries. Specifically, in let's say 4 years, many people from the US, but before that it was mostly Europeans, UK, the Netherlands, France, all this. So we had to work with these people and learn about their quirks and how their countries work. And for us has been a little of a shock of how different things are in all those different countries. We're still learning because we are still meeting people from different countries. Okay. So the thing is, notaries in Spain are a big deal. Okay, something very respectful, something really with prestige, with all this. We know that, for instance, in the US, you just have to do a little exam and get some certification for being a public notary. If I'm not mistaken, that's as far as I know. In Spain, you have to do a really, really, really tough exam. There's so many people who tries this exam and very few people who pass it. There's a
Like you have to
certain
go to.
amount of notaries. They can be more, and they only get more notaries when one of them retires. Okay?
Oh, so you mean there's a limited number of notaries in Spain?
Not only that,
Interesting.
not only the number is limited, but geographically they are also limited. Like there's just 55 in Valencia, for instance. There's just 8 or 9 in Castellón. There's this many on this town. There's no one in this town. Okay, this goes like this. It's called demarcación.
And I will say, when you were comparing, I mean, just so that for anyone that comes from the States, yeah, you are correct. It is, you go to the notary just to get like a document that is being photocopied. You can have somebody like just approve that that is actually a photocopy of the document that you photocopied. And it's usually a job someone does on the side of something else. Yeah. Like you said here, it's a very prestigious job. It is, and it is used for, I mean, I've only used them so far for purchasing a house. Like, what is the main job of a notary in, I mean, if you were to collectively say, like, the purpose of a notary in Spain?
Well, the purpose of a notary is giving public faith of the documents they are signing. So a document signed in front of a notary, which the notary also signs, has public faith, meaning the content of this document is not to be revoked.
Right, basically. And then, yeah, and I will say what I found, and we can sort of briefly go into like the real estate element of it, which is how we met. The notary has some responsibility to be double checking the document. So this is kind of where we run into, do you need a lawyer and a notary? Because the notary is doing a lot of the things that Americans would consider a lawyer's job, which is making sure that the property doesn't have any taxes and liens and things on it. Is that correct, that the notary has that responsibility to be doing the background checks and things on properties?
That's totally correct. I mean, there's a big problem with that because there's not a way to do things in Spain. There are many ways to come around things. If you're okay,
we have mentioned that quite often on many an episode, that there is no one way, and for any problem there are 7 answers and 8 people telling you they're all wrong.
Okay. So I'm trying to make it easy to understand, but maybe the concept is not that easy. For making a purchase, what do you need? Well, basically you need nothing, okay? Just come to the notary and we'll do everything. In reality, we are not going to show you this beautiful flat with 3 bedrooms and attached kitchen and all that, okay? We are not doing this. We are not doing the work of a real estate agent. We are not doing the work of a lawyer. Depends. If the lawyer does some previous work, he's done it. If not, we are going to do it at the end, okay? We're going to check for encumbrances, liens, mortgages, all this. We're going to check that all expenses to the town hall have been paid. We're going to check that all expenses to the condo, if you're a condominium, have been paid. But for instance, this is only the things that regard to the land registry. Let's say you make a deed to incorporate it to the land registry, which is the thing that it's more confusing for many people. We got a double standard, okay? So we make deeds in the notary, and the notaries are incorporated in the land registry. So in order to come to the land registry and register this flat, this house, this plot in your name, you need to make a deed before that, okay? Mm-hmm. So we check that everything that the land registry is going to check, and this includes everything regarding liens, mortgages, and all this for the property, everything regarding the expenses to the condominium, everything regarding the expenses to the town hall, certificación catastral, which is like a cartographical database, which is supposed to be merged with the land registry, but it's not, but it's starting to merge, okay? It's supposed to be merged, but okay. Mm-hmm. Big cities and stuff like this, or in urban places, it's okay. If you go to the more rural places, it's different, okay? But it's starting to do this. We also check for the Certificado de Eficiencia Energética, which is something that is needed, like what is your rate regarding energetic efficiency in your building or your house, all this. What do we not check, for instance? Pending gas, water, or electricity bills. Sometimes they come and they give us that. No, we don't check that. So in order to do that, you need either to do it by yourself or the real estate or the lawyer. You can use both a real estate, both a lawyer, all these professionals, or you can do it by yourself. I mean, you don't need a real estate to buy a house, but it's going to make it easier for you. They are going to look for your house. They are going to show you their house. They are going to tell you if this is a good neighborhood. They are going to tell you if this is a fair price, if this is expensive. They are going to do their part. A lawyer, they can do their part. There are some deeds that we do that have been through lawyers, and they give us all the info really filtered. Like, it's easy to work. It's easier. Do you need a lawyer? Well, maybe not. It also depends on the case. Let's say you have some kind of illegal occupation in the house. We are not going to take care of that. We are just going to state in the deed that we can, the seller can't give the possession of the house because there's somebody illegally occupying the house. But we are not going to do the eviction. We are not going to do that.
Right.
Okay, let's say that there are some liens that need to be managed, like, I don't know, don't think about a mortgage, think about some other stuff, like
Like a tax lien.
No, some debt with the tax office, for instance.
Yes.
The lawyer might take care of that before. If it comes to us, we are going to say, okay, you have this debt. It's there. It's up to you if you want to buy it. But I have to say something about this debt. Are you taking care of this debt? Are you going to pay it on behalf of the seller and you are deducting the price for this? We are going to take care of this. But we are not going to actively go and pay for the debt and take care of that. For instance,
Yes, I would say that was, so, in that regard, the notary is there to put everything on the table so that you are completely aware of what's going on. And I will say, when we sold our house and bought the apartment, like in all the instances when we were working with the notary to do that, one of the things I really liked was, and your office has translators, so they have someone that sits, will do everything in English. You literally go through the documents that you're signing, all the documents that you're signing, paragraph by paragraph, and you go, it takes hours, and when you want it to, this is a good thing, because you go through every single section of that document, and you can ask questions, and then someone like you that maybe is translating says, do you understand what that means? Yes, I do. No, I don't. Do you understand? Yes. And the whole document. So it's not just like you go to the notary and you're signing. I love that in Spain, that is, I think, the law, that everyone needs to understand what is being purchased and what is being sold. And that is also a big part, I think, of what the notary does, which is great.
So I have a question, and I just want to make sure that I'm understanding this clearly, is that, say, for instance, now since we're talking about real estate, if there are debts owed on this property, that's something that the notary finds out, or the lawyer finds out, or both find out? I'm confused.
We do find out for sure. And the lawyer most likely is going to find out. I'm going to say 99% they are going to find out. We ask for something called nota simple, which is another avenue for problems with expats. The nota simple and the copia simple, this difference. Nota simple is just an extract from the land registry. Okay? So we get this extract from the land registry that we as a notary ask for, but any person could ask for. The land registry is public also. You just have to state what is your interest in this information, and that's it. And it's going to tell information about the let's say it's a flat, information about the flat, like square meters, surface, where is it, integration in the building that it's then it's going to say who is the owner, then it's going to say when they buy it, and then it's going to say all mortgages and encumbrances there is. They have to list them. So we know there is that, okay? Because in Spain, when you have a lien or a mortgage, it gets inscribed in the land registry.
And that's what's nice about, if you can pay a lawyer to do that ahead of getting to the notary,
Yes.
or you can wait until the notary and then have them do it. But that could delay things, because if they find something, every time we've purchased, we've sort of the real estate person or the lawyer has done a lot of that stuff ahead of time, so we kind of know what we're getting in to. So by the time we get to the notary, it's like we're very aware of everything that's going to be found. And there's not that there still can't be issues, because a lot of them for me have been mental, because it's like the addresses in Spain are insane. So when you buy a place, the address that you went to can very easily not be the address that's on the nota simple and the documents that you're signing. And you go there and you're like, but what?
Yeah, that
And I'm
happens.
sure you can't explain how addresses in Spain work, but that's a very frustrating and sort of scary thing when
Well,
you're buying a
I can
property.
explain some of it. Some of them I don't understand, really. It just happens. Okay.
Yeah, one of the things that I wanted to ask was all of these things that you've mentioned is a lot. I would imagine a lot of the purpose of this is to prevent fraud and just to make sure that everything is being handled properly. Is that sort of the purpose of the in-depthness of what you're doing?
Well, that and the public faith. We can say that something is when it isn't. We can say that this is free of encumbrances when it's not. We can say there is no mortgage when there is, of course.
Yeah.
So since we've had a long conversation about real estate, what other services are unique to notaries? And what if someone's moving here, why would I need a notary outside of a real estate transaction?
Corporate law, for instance, which is what I do. Okay, mainly I do corporate law. Last wills,
Meaning like
inheritances,
registering businesses and that kind of thing?
shareholders, purchase of shares, incorporation of companies, merge, acquisition, dissolution and liquidation of companies, all this stuff. This is pretty much on a daily basis.
I think it
Nothing.
seems very much more like what lawyers do in the States, right? I mean, you're very much covering a lot of things that you would go to a lawyer for, which I think is why people come into Spain. They're like, I don't understand, lawyer, notary, we got it all. And you guys do everything that needs a
Yeah.
signature. And
I agree. From the outside looking in, notaries are lawyers and not notaries as we are used to them in the States, right?
Yeah, maybe think of it as different layers of the same thing, okay? But what we can do as notaries, lawyers can do. But most of what we do kind of overlaps, okay?
Okay.
Not exactly, because they do private practice. For instance, if you want to do a private contract of everything, a lawyer can do it and we can do it. So they have their work, they have their area, but we also have our area, but then there's some zones in which it just overlaps. Okay, like we are doing the same thing. Okay, working with a lawyer for a purchase is something I'm really used to, and it's something really common. And at the end, we're both working together. Let's say that. So, and also, there's not such a thing as a purchase. Purchases are different as everything. I mean, you can have a really complicated purchase, lots of mortgage, lots of liens, lots of many people who is not really, their property is not in the land registry, and you have to solve all this. And there are purchases that are really easy. So maybe you need a lawyer for this purchase, but for the other purchase, you don't really need it. Or maybe you want just to not take care and not worry about anything. And then you call the lawyer and he does all this for you.
if I do a contract with a lawyer, do I still need to, at the end of it, come to a notary for everybody to sign it, or can it be signed in a lawyer's office?
Okay, what kind of contract? This is the one thing.
I guess I guess maybe a new business, like two people going into business together, or something
Okay,
like that.
But you are incorporating a company. That's different. The
I
only
see.
way that you can have a private contract is called sociedad civil, which is not a company. Okay, so you want to incorporate a company, you can make an agreement with the people, with your lawyer, and all this. You need to come to the notary to incorporate the company.
Got it. Okay.
Because
So
later
you're
it's going to be to the mercantile register. So for this to be inscribed in and incorporated in the mercantile register, you need a deed. You can go with a private contract. There are just very specific documents which can be incorporated in the mercantile register or the land registry just by a private contract.
I see. So I'm seeing a bit of a theme, which is that if something needs to be finally presented into a government registry, you'll need to go through a notary
Yes.
to get that done.
Yes. And basically the land registry, foundations registry, cooperatives registry, mercantile registry, all this, you need a deed. Okay? And then besides that, you want to make an agreement with people, okay, just with your neighbor. I'm going to, I don't know, let you use, we're going to make an agreement about something. I don't know, whatever you want. this is called an acta de manifestaciones, which is basically a statement, okay? Not a contract, a statement. We're agreeing about whatever, okay? Not with the content of a contract. You can come and do acta de manifestaciones. You can do it in a private contract, yes. You can do it in a notary, also. What is the benefits of doing that in front of a notary? Okay, if you do it in front of the notary, there is never going to be a doubt about the content or the signature on this document, okay, or this statement. If you make a private statement, first thing you're going to say, that's not my signature. I didn't sign this. You forged it. Not in front of the notary.
Yeah.
Okay? So many people come to say, for instance, in many administrative procedures, getting married, or getting the visa, or getting the Spanish nationality, all this. There's a moment in which you need to do a statement, okay? I want to, in all the file, they say, you need all these documents and a statement about you wanting to ask for the Spanish nationality for whatever, okay? I'm just making this up as I talk. Okay, this statement, you can do it in front of the civil servant, which is going to take like 6 months time, or you can come to the notary and do it in 2 days time, okay? You can do a private contract about that, or a private statement. They want to do it in front of an official, be it a civil servant, or be it a public notary.
Now, things like wills and trusts, is that a lawyer issue or is that a notary issue?
Both. You need to do it in front of the notary for sure. You can ask for a lawyer to prepare it for you.
Okay.
But you would prepare, so a notary can also prepare these documents. I've only experienced documents that are prepared but the notary could prepare all of these and deal with the signature at the end.
Yes.
Oh,
So a notary will write up a will.
No need to a lawyer. And then it also depends. Are you a millionaire? Have you got like 20 assets? You got a family company that you want to split this way? You want all this to do? Okay, you can come to the notary and make a last will, or you can go through a lawyer, and probably not a lawyer but a tax advisor who's going to tell you how to manage your assets once you passed away and all this. So it also depends.
right. How in depth it needs to be.
But no matter what, it's the notary that has to register the will and
Yes.
trust with the government,
Yes.
right?
There's no such a thing as a private will, except in some particular cases, which is testamentolographo, which is one that you sign on your own hand. You write it, and then once you passed away, it needs to go to the courthouse. It needs to be addeverado, which is something like it needs to be proved that it's real, and at the end, it's a hassle.
Yes, that sounds
something that nowadays has really no transcendence, because at the end you go to the notary, you make your will, and that's it. You go through the straight way. And what is the need for this kind of hassle, which you are not imposing upon yourself, but upon your inheritors? Why? I would go for a notary and do a last will.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of wills, then I have a question, which is, how does it work for expats who say their assets are in the United States and they have a will in the United States, but it from what I've heard, you need to get your will registered in Spain to default. Like, you have a new will in Spain that defaults to the American will. You don't have to rewrite a new one. Is that correct?
Well, yes and no. What we do is we do a last will for assets in Spain.
Okay.
But you are American, for instance, and you're saying that your personal law is the American law because the personal law of the person is the one which is going to be applied for the succession, okay? You're an American, you have assets in Spain. When you pass away, you're going to do two different inheritance, one in the US, one in Spain. And both of them are going to be done according to the American law. So we need to learn this kind of law. So what you would do, what I would advise for all expats is a last will for assets in Spain and a last will for the rest of their assets in their country of origin, or if you have assets in different countries, in every country you have assets, a different last will.
And then each
That's
of the
what I would
assets
advise.
taken care of in the
Gotcha.
country.
That's good to know. I don't think a
That
lot of
is good to know. So we're just going to be working on trying to acquire assets so that we can have a need for a wheel.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
you're not going to need a last
I,
will
I
for
have
a
a
long
question.
time.
I have a question. So if I hire a lawyer, for instance, and I'm trying to do something, the lawyer will advise me, just don't do this. This looks fishy or something. But it
Yes.
seems that a notary's job is really just to place the facts, and it's not your job to really advise on the facts. It's more like, here are the facts. It's your job to decide whether that's something you want to do. And maybe that would be a bit of a difference between having a lawyer and the notary, because the notary is not going to get involved in giving recommendations or advice. Is that correct?
Well, we are Switzerland. We are
Yes, there
not
you go.
proud.
Yeah.
you just present the facts of the
Yes.
case, and then,
But
but a lawyer will have the client's interests at heart. So if I'm paying a lawyer, they're going to make sure I'm protected. Where a notary is just going to say, these are
These are
everything
the
that we're
issues.
seeing.
Yeah.
okay, let's make an example. Let's say you are buying a flat and the price is so high, it's unbelievable high, and we know it's so high. Okay, we can, raise an eyebrow or say something like the price is high. But honestly, it's not our job to say, if both parties are in full agreement about the price, we can mention it. Well, we're not supposed to tell, are you sure about that?
Right.
We
Right.
will tell this, for instance, last wills, people. We need to make sure they are not forced. For instance, if you come with, let's say, to make a power or a last will with somebody accompanying it, no, the notary will ask for everybody to leave, and she will speak to the person signing alone, and she will, or he or the notary will make sure that she's in full agreement of what she's going to sign. Okay? So this is different. Last will, a power, something that we need to make sure that the people giving the power or giving the last will is sure of.
Yeah.
There's just one part involved, okay? So we are going to push, we are going to ask, we are going to, are you sure you're signing this? Are you sure you're doing this? We are making extra sure that the person has the full mental capacity to sign this. You understand this? In case
Yes.
we have doubts, we are going to ask for witness, or we are going to ask for a medical certificate to prove that this person is in his full mental health, and we are going to ask questions.
Yeah.
No, basically, what's today day? What's the king of Spain? Something. This is really classical.
These things.
No,
Right.
what's the
Yeah.
king of Spain? I don't know.
Don't ask me because I'm confused.
Yeah,
I think
what's
that
today
goes,
day?
that,
And
that
you don't
goes,
even know what's today day. You are not in your full
you're not in
capacity.
your best friend. I think that goes back to how we spoke at the beginning, which is, I think, why we kind of wanted to have this discussion with you, which is that notaries in Spain, it's an extremely prestigious job and an important one, and it's important for people to realize that it is extremely different. And for these reasons, you have a responsibility for every document that's getting signed in your office.
So, in that note, if you find someone is being pressured or there's an issue going on, can you stop the process? Because
course.
okay.
No, a notary will not sign any document if he feels something is being pressured.
Gotcha. So, like, if someone's elderly and not of their full capacity, and the kids are fighting over a will and deciding that we're going to change it and
Yeah.
take dad down or grandpa or mom down.
Yeah, this happens more than it would be nice. But
Yeah.
it-
So Switzerland most of the time, but
Yeah.
not Switzerland if needed. It
Yeah.
sounds like how it is.
So the thing is, for instance, let's say some elderly woman came and she came with just one of their sons, and she wants to make a last will for just one of their sons, and then left the others out of the inheritance. This is going to be a case of extra care for the notary.
Yeah.
He's going to ask her so many questions. He's going to interview her on her own. He's going to ask for everything. He's going to ask again and again and again about what he wants to do. That he's going. Yeah, for sure.
It's a lot of responsibility.
It's a lot of responsibility. It's a case of not much to gain, is the last will, and a lot to lose. So
Right.
the notary is going to do it because it's their purpose, it's their job, it's their function, and also because of themselves. because they need to be sure of what they sign.
But I really, really appreciate you giving us some insight. I've also learned, even though I've used you guys, I've learned more about the other things that you do, which is really interesting.
Okay, there's one thing you need to know, and it's going to be really useful for all your listeners, which is the notarization thing. Okay? The notarization thing. You come with a form. Okay? I need to notarize this. This is like every day. Every day. It goes like this. So, according to Spanish laws, we can't notarize as this. There's two different items in this. One is called testimonio, and the other is called legitimación. Okay, a testimonio is, and let's make it easy, a glorified photocopy. Okay? We take the original, we make a copy, we put a stamp of the notary saying this is a copy of the original document that has been witnessed by me and have been certified, certified by me that the copy is exactly to the original. That's cheap. Okay? That's something we can do. According to Spanish law, you can do that if the original document, according to the laws of the country of origin, has a content that, according to Spanish law, needs to be in a public deed. And this is really a gray zone because a statement in Spain is called acta de manifestaciones and need to be done in a public deed. Okay? So there's not many things that we can notarize. Okay? These things need to be put inside a deed that is called Acta del 207, which is an act that basically what it says is I'm in front of a document that is written in English, language that I, the notary, know, and we are going to make a copy of this. And then you go, once we issue you the document, and goes to the Colegio Notarial, in which they put a stamp for the apostilla. Okay? So the thing is, most forms, which is like a pre-filled form and that, we can notarize. But most statements, we do not. We need to make the other thing. So the difference in price between one thing and the other is like one is 10 times more expensive than the other. And there's so many people that come here and they, no, in the Netherlands, you just need to sign in here and that's it. Yeah, but according to Spanish law, we can do that. We can do that. And even if you need to go to the apostilla, which is in the Colegio Notarial, they are going to tell you again and again, this is no valid. Okay?
Right. So it needs to be done. So those other things they need to. So if it's not a photocopy, it needs to be done in a very specific way, and then also presented in and put into a system so that it is law, and then you get it. So that's why it's so expensive, because it takes up a lot more time.
My own personal experience with this was I had to get a power of attorney done, and they were like, "No, you can't." I was like, "I can go to any mailboxes store in America, and I can do the power of attorney." And here they were like, "No, it's 1,000 euros because it's so many pages, and you need to have X, Y, and Z. We have to register it." And I was literally beating my head against the wall for 2 weeks before I succumbed to how things are in Spain, because the other people, it was for somewhere else, and they were like, "But that's not the way here either." And I'm like, we're all just beating our heads, and Spain's like, "No, we can't do that." And I was like, "Oh, so
So that's what you had to do. You had to go the second route, which was to get it properly done. What you were saying.
I had to travel. I had to travel.
So they don't have that. They just don't have that here. It's not an option to get things notarized in that same way as you do in the States.
No. Yeah, basically you bring your power of attorney. That's a really common occurrence. You bring your power of attorney and you want them to be notarized with your senator. No, this can be done. You need to include it in an act. Then you need to sign in front of the notary. Then we'll give you your power of attorney just as you redacted it. We're going to give you, but with a stamp and everything, and saying that it's original copy of the same, but through this act, and then you're going to go get your apostilla.
Right.
Because this is something you need. Every document made in a country, every document which needs to make effects in a different country from the country of origin needs to get either the apostilla if they are in the convenio, which is something that countries are there to, and most countries are there, or through a legalization. Legalization is way longer. So.
But you don't do the apostille. That's another office.
That's Colegio Notarial, which is the bar college for all notaries, something like
Okay,
that.
so you would need to go through a notary first, usually, to get whatever
Yes.
document it is that you then need to go to.
And then you go to the Colegio Notarial.
Got it.
And
It's a process.
I will say that the place where you get the apostille, delightful ladies. They were all so sweet when I had to go down there. So
Yes.
I will
Yes,
give
they
them
are.
a shout out. So
Well, they were also very delightful in your office, Roger. I have to say, it was, I mean, you are there for a while, so you meet everybody. I mean, eventually, because it takes a little while to get things, I mean, just the process. It doesn't take your office a long time to get things done. It just, that process is, you know, time consuming. But it was a delightful experience at the end of the day. And yeah, we really appreciate you talking to us. And is there anything else any other advice you have for expats that come here? Things not to come to your office for, perhaps.
Okay. Well, learn a bit of Valencian, that's for
Yes.
sure.
And
That will
Spanish.
put you in good spirits with everybody. And I like when people speak in Valencian. No, just, I mean, I understand it can be quite confusing. I understand that people come here just, how would I say? It's not exactly advice, but try to think outside of the box.
Right.
Don't put your American, English, whatever, South American, Netherlands ideas. Don't try to make it through us, because it doesn't work like this. We work
Right.
in a way, not because we want to, because we are compelled by law to work that way. So we need to merge what you want and what we can do. And sometimes you need to listen, you need to understand. And don't get frustrated about this, because you are going to find, either if it's in this notary or any other, you're going to find somebody who speaks in English, somebody who is going to explain to you how it works, and you're going to find nice people and also not so nice people, but just like in every other stance in life. Okay? But don't try to push your ideas. Okay? If we, me, myself, or anybody else in any other notary of Spain is telling you this needs to be done this way, it's because it needs to be done this way. Okay? I understand that the power of attorney thing, which is something that happens, and I'm not exaggerating, weekly, is something really difficult. You just need to sign here. No, we can't do that. I know for you, a power of attorney is something you do on your way to the gym, not
Yes.
to Spain.
This is so true.
Not to Spain. That's
Right.
all I say.
And you're on the front lines there at
Yeah.
a notary, really dealing with all the expats trying to get things done. So I applaud your patience that you have to deal with
It's
us
not
all.
patient. It's our job. It's easy to understand. I mean,
Well, thank you so much for your time. I've learned a lot for sure.
thank you.
Yes. Thank you. I think we've run out of questions, and that was incredibly informative. So thank you very much. And if anyone has more questions, we'll ask you back for more information.
Whenever you want. Thank you very much,
Thank
and thank you
you.
for having me.
Thank you so
you.
much, Roger.
Okay, bye.
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 Well, that was a fun interview with Roger. I thought he had so much great information, and I learned some things.
I did too, and I think it is the most important thing. Let me just reiterate. We reiterated it. Blah, 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 blah. We reiterated it in the interview, which was that notarías in Spain are like lawyers, not what we're used to in the States. It is a completely different ball of wax. And what I loved about him, and I think it is kind of, he put his finger on the theme, I hope, of our podcast, which was don't push your ideas on Spain, right? That
Right.
is why we are on Spain. I don't even think he knows the joke. He got the joke without
Right.
even knowing it, that you can't be who you are, what you've known who you were here. You are now becoming a Spaniard, and this is the
Yeah.
way, not
You're
your
becoming
way.
a person living in Spain, and especially when it comes to doing paperwork and stuff. I mean, there are laws in place, and the notaries, especially if you end up having to deal with a notary or want to deal with a notary, they're following a law. They can't just do it a different way. So you can argue and say this is how it's done in another country. It's not going to help anything.
Right. Well, no, he said they could do it 7 different ways. It's just the 7 different ways that are prescribed by law here, not the law that you're used to.
But probably one of those 7 ways is not one of the ways that it's done in your home country.
Most likely none of the 7 ways are. Yes, that is for sure.
No, I mean, I just think it's really interesting. And like I said, the first time we had to go to the notary, it was like, oh my God, what's going on? And just knowing what their role is, I think is really helpful. I'm hoping has been really helpful to everybody that's listening. If you're coming into Spain and going to be living here or purchasing property, obviously we talked about many other things other than purchasing property, but it's important to know what all these different jobs are so that you know how it fits into your plan for what you're doing.
Agreed.
So we hope everyone found this useful.
They did. I'm gonna speak for our audience. They found it very useful, Tanya.
You probably done a little bit more because you haven't done the home purchasing thing yet, so you probably haven't dealt with the notary quite to the extent that I have.
No, I went to the notary to get this thing done, and it was like, no, we don't do this, and it was such a dumbfounding thing because I was like, this doesn't make sense to me, and it didn't make sense to the other country. So it was like I'm dealing with 3 countries here, and it was one of these things like, oh my gosh, like
You have to do it the way it's done in Spain, and that's
right,
it. Even
right.
if whatever's going on in the other countries, yeah.
So I would like to add
stunning.
before we leave that when people are thinking about the notary in America versus here, not the same thing, but there are certain documents that if you need them notarized, that's what the U.S. embassy's for. That's what the French embassy is for. There's a lot of things they won't do, like they won't do power of attorneys, but they will do wills and contracts and those kinds of things. So before you butt your head on a wall at the notaria, email your local embassy or consulate to see if they will do that document for you. It will save a lot of
The way that you're expecting,
Yeah.
yeah. Because obviously it can be done here in certain ways. And also, especially if you're doing documents, which is what you are for papers and visas and things like that, there's going to be a way that it's expected as well. And it might not be the way a Spanish notary does it. It may be that it needs to be done in the States or your home country. So also just double check what is being asked for before you run anywhere to get those things done, because there's probably a very specific way it's being asked to be done, and they'll be expecting that.
Exactly.
My advice for the day.
Well, on that note, Tanya, until next week.
Until next week.
Ciao.
Bye. Thank you for listening to another episode of Our Spain.
We really appreciate all the support we have received since we started this podcast.
Visit ourspain.com for transcripts to this and our other episodes, some exciting merchandise, and if you are so inclined, there is also a link to buy us a coffee, which helps support this fun endeavor.
And please follow us on Instagram and YouTube at Ospain Podcast. And don't forget to subscribe to us wherever you're listening.
It really helps us stay connected, and we'd love to hear from you.
Let us know if there's any topics you would like for us to talk about. Even though we are happy to talk about anything, we also want to make sure it's informative for you.
Exactly.